Welcome back to another quick review. I'm back outside again. What's new? You can hear the car. You can hear the noise. It's yeah. We're back. We're back outside. And today we are talking about the Fantastic Four: First Steps. The latest MCU movie. Got another one. It's 8 in the afternoon. 8 at night. Have it. Just got back from seeing it about 2 hours ago. Um, so I'd like to take the time to talk about it naturally. Now, I think the overall sentiment, or my overall sentiment regarding this movie is the movie's good. The movie's really good. It's really, really good. It's a really good MCU movie. I genuinely, ignore the dog, genuinely enjoyed it. No, that's not to say that the movie doesn't have any issues. But I think just overall, if those issues aside, overall, I think the movie is a really, really good MCU movie, all things considered. Because we're kind of on a great run in regards to comic book movies at the moment, Thunderbolts and Superman and whatnot. And we have another really good one. Uh, so I think we'll just start with the cast, the Fantastic Four themselves. They're all great, especially Vanessa Kirby, who is like the heart and soul of this movie. She's the lifeblood of this movie. Um, I think every performance works, even the ones that you don't think will work as well. Like I think I go back to not so much Joseph Quinn, just because I think his performance as Eddie Munson, as well as his performance as Eddie Munson plus a couple other things, I think made me believe, like, yeah, he could do Johnny. I don't know if he could do Johnny like outstanding as, or as good as Chris Evans did Johnny, but I do think he could do Johnny really well, and that's exactly what I thought. I think the biggest casting decision, I was like, we'll see what happens, is Pedro Pascal. Um, I was I think Pedro Pascal is a great ass actor, but I just don't know how great he is as Reed Richards specifically. Now I have to add a bit of context. I have read very few Fantastic Four comics in my life. I've read a couple, but I haven't read as many as as an average fan has. And even then, I was still a tiny bit skeptical about him. And he did phenomenally. He did great. And then you get to people like Vanessa Kirby and Evan Moss Backrack, who, yeah, there are reasons why these people were fan casted for so long, because they're just great. They're perfect as those characters. But I think, yeah, between the cast members who you're not too sure about, as well as the cast members you are like 1,000% sure about, everybody brings it. Everybody does really well. They felt like a family. Love that. Um, the aesthetic of this movie works. It works really well. It's just great, right? The futuristic 60s setting is just something we haven't seen from a comic book movie before, and it's refreshing. I do genuinely want to see more from this world, just in general. The music is great, which isn't saying much, coming from Michael Giacchino, who of course composed things like top of my head, The Incredibles, and The Batman, some other stuff as well. But those are top of my head things that he's composed. The music is great as usual, and the cinematography, and like cinematography and CGI were genuinely really good. Cinematography was amazing. There's like 30 different jaw-dropping shots in this movie that I was like, oh, that's great. And then, especially towards like especially like the midpoint of this movie, once Silver Surfer rocks up, and then and then everything between that, and then when they get back to Earth after everything with Silver Surfer, like the cinematography during those points of the movie are just like, oh my god, these are great. Um, and I think we can, the CGI, a tiny bit wonky at times, but nothing noticeable. Average person won't see an issue with it. Not bad by any means. It's genuinely probably one of the best looking Marvel movies we've ever seen, just in general. Like up there with like Eternals, which is a movie that I don't really like that much, but I can acknowledge that that movie still looks really, really good. Um, I think that's where we. I think that's. This is probably the part where we kind of get into like the things I didn't like about the movie that much, which I think there are two big things that this that I'm not a big fan of in regards to this movie. One of them is a me thing. One of them is a me thing, and the other one is a movie thing. Start with the movie thing first. There's like 30 minutes missing from this movie. It feels like this movie was like shown to test audiences, and just like they just cut 30 minutes from it. It's a very, very short movie. And this is kind of the same thing that happened with Superman, is that it got to test audiences, and some things were cut. But in regards to that, I think this movie doesn't use its length the best, is what I'm saying. Whereas you get to movies like just other comic book movies this year, like Thunderbolts and Superman, that are around the same length. Like, this movie is shorter than both of those, but are still like a relatively the same length. But use the length of the movies better. That's a very, very not fun sexual innuendo I didn't intend to make. Yeah, it's like it uses their length better. That's the best way I can say it, I guess. Fantastic Four is a great movie with great ideas, but it doesn't let those ideas breathe. It doesn't let them have time to just let those ideas be. It's like rapid pace, move on to the next thing, which I think works for a lot of movies. I think it does work for this movie in a sense, because it's also a case of I can't imagine it without it doing that. But at the same time, like I said, you get to something like Superman or Thunderbolts, where it's like you come out of those movies and you're like, I don't feel like there was much missing. I don't feel like that movie needed to be longer. I don't feel like it needed to be shorter, right? Whereas Fantastic Four, it's like I feel like that movie needed to be like 30 minutes longer. So that's a big thing for me. I was like, this movie's moving too fast, to a point where I was like, I understand, get to the point, but at the same time, let's just slow down just a tiny bit. The other thing, the emotional core of this movie doesn't hit as much as I thought it would. Honestly, for me at least, it's definitely a movie about family, and I love that. But like my family life just in general isn't the greatest, and I thought with everything that had been advertised and marketed with the film, I thought that the emotional core of this movie with these four characters and a newborn child and whatnot, and that balancing out with the Earth actively, about to get destroyed, I thought that emotional core would get me, and it doesn't. It doesn't really. It's still really good. Like I said, I still love the family aspect and the themes and whatnot, but that core doesn't grab me as much as something like, actually, let me just not compare it anymore. The core doesn't grab me as much as I would have liked it to. Which I think does have something to do with the length of the movie, the fact that it's just moving way too fast, the fact that some things are too convenient, like Sue giving a speech and all of a sudden everybody's back on the Fantastic Four side again, and it's just like after like 5 minutes of conflict, and I was like, okay, we're moving a bit too fast here. I think we're all a bit too quick to forgive everything, but it's fiction. It's a comic book movie. What you gonna do? But I do also believe that kind of just works against it in just a tiny bit. And then I think the last thing I want to say, just getting away from the negatives, Galactus and Silver Surfer, I didn't get to talk about them. They look great. Some of the best parts of the movie visually, voice acting wise, just acting in general, just great. They were great. Ralph Ineson is the first time I know he's like a big actor, but the first time I heard his voice at anything was Sid in Final Fantasy 16. Absolutely love that game. It's a top 3 game all time for me. And so when I found out he was cast as Galactus, I was like, oh, this is perfect. And it was perfect. I love all the other like little references that are thrown into this movie, just otherwise. But yeah, overall, Fantastic Four, First Steps. It's a great movie. It's like I think at the moment it's like a top 15 MCU movie. It's really good. And despite my issues with it, all things considered, despite my issues with it, I am still excited to see more of this world going forward. I'm still excited to see more of this world, these characters, and overall actually excited to see where the future of the MCU goes. Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom and all, right? Despite all that, whatever the world that casting is, I am still excited to see where that goes. So yeah, that's going to be it for this quick review, he says, as it gets to 11 minutes. Thank you for watching. I'll be back eventually, I guess. See ya. Bye.